Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. If you're new here, I am a Formula Woman applicant for 2021, and if you don't know what that is, you can go check out my first video up on my channel.
Right, I'm here with Sarah Mackenzie, Formula Woman contestant in Mondello Park. Before she takes her life in her hands, do you have anything you'd like to say, Sarah, or how are you feeling about the whole experience? And is it VAT refundable?
No, it's not VAT refundable, and the insurance excess is also non-refundable.
Grand. How are you feeling?
Nervous?
Nervous? You're going to be great though.
So I did promise a vlog from Mondello. Unfortunately, it did rain quite heavily, which made vlogging pretty difficult, but luckily I did get some footage of myself on the track thanks to my amazing camera woman Katie, who stood out in the rain, bless her, for quite a long time to get some footage of me going around. So
The life of the camera woman.
in the meantime, I can have the footage playing as I'm chatting you through what happened, but overall, absolutely fantastic day out. And I want to say a special thank you to my instructor, Paul, who just went above and beyond and was so helpful. As soon as I told him about Formula Woman and about the track that I would be doing my assessment on in Anglesey, he was so helpful, had luckily raced there before and was just full of tips and was willing to be asked the most silly of questions with no problem at all. So huge thank you to Paul. He made me feel very safe, very comfortable, but also definitely pushed me to really, firstly, go as fast as I could on the straights, which at times, especially in the rain, can be a bit daunting, but also, you know, just really kind of encouraged me to back myself in terms of, once I'd figured out the track initially, to back myself and just really push it. So I got to Mondello a little bit early because I knew that there was a sort of car museum, I guess you could call it, there, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough time to take a quick walk around that before I actually went and got ready for my session. So I can put some footage in here of the museum itself. It's really cool. They've got cars from across the years and also different types of cars. So there were a bunch of F1 cars in there, which was really cool to see, and I know we were definitely surprised, or I guess kind of reminded just of the actual scale and size of the cars. I know I've talked about this before in my first and last video, the first time I saw a Ferrari F1 car in real life. They are so big and you really do forget watching it on TV how big they are and how tight it is out there on track. So that was definitely really cool to see, and also cool to just kind of look back at what cars looked like in the past as well in real life. And they also had some very stylish mannequins showing off some of the old school race gear. And depending on your experience that you've booked, you get taken into the suite for that experience. So I had booked the BMW experience, so I went right down to the BMW suite. We did get to watch a bit of drifting that was happening before popping into the suite. Not my jam. I would rather be going fast consistently around the track, but I will say they generated some pretty cool noise and they looked like they were having a lot of fun out there, so definitely cool to check that out as well. But after coming into the suite, essentially you got to just take a look around. There is a prep video that you watch. Ideally you would watch that before you get there, but it is playing in the suite if you do need to watch it before you go out on track. And essentially you just hang out there for a couple of minutes before you get your helmet fitted, and then you get assigned your instructor. So like I said, my instructor's name was Paul, absolute legend, took me down to the trackside, and first of all what we did was we hopped into a Mini. So the Mini was automatic, and actually the BMW was also automatic, which is great because the Corsa E that we'll be driving at the on-track assessment is also going to be automatic, so that's good prep. Maybe just a fun fact for people that might not know, in Ireland the vast majority of cars are still manual, so you would be driving stick shift, and that means that getting into an automatic car does kind of require a little bit of rethinking in terms of literally just retiring your left foot basically, and just making sure that you are not reaching for the gear stick at any point. So hopped into the Mini, and luckily it was dry when I did my run in the Mini, so I was able to kind of really feel out the track and not have to worry about losing grip at any point. So what's really helpful about Mondello is that they've got brake boards and then cones. So basically the idea of the brake board is that it gives you a point at which you need to start braking for the corner, and the idea of the cone is that that is where you stop braking and turn into the corner. So those are all the way around the track, and in between those, essentially your instructor will tell you to go full pedal to the floor and try and get around as quickly as you can. So I had a bunch of laps in the Mini, felt much more comfortable after that. I think, you know, the great thing about putting into practice things that we had learned from the Formula Woman online course material was that it instantly made me feel more confident in how to approach the track, and I felt like I had some knowledge coming in, which is great. And I think especially with things like understeer, oversteer, and also the apex of the corner, you really feel like you've got some of that knowledge going in, and the instructor I think also appreciates that as well. So we did a bunch of laps in the Mini and then came back in, and then I hopped into a BMW M2 competition. So obviously a faster car than the Mini, but I will say I didn't feel like it was a scary step up. It felt like it made sense. Like after the laps in the Mini, I was ready for the BMW. So jumped in that, and we then unfortunately did have some rain. I say unfortunately, I was worried about the rain before we got there because it had been raining on and off on the drive up. But actually, Paul had a really good attitude to it, which was it's better to have some experience in the rain now in a practice environment than to arrive at your on-track assessment in Anglesey. Let's say it's pouring with rain and you've never driven in the rain before on a track, and you start kind of panicking about how to approach it. So I really liked that kind of thought process, and I think it really helped me, and he really encouraged me to still attack the corners even though it was raining. And it's funny, the first couple of times that the steering, that I kind of felt the car like fishtail, I was like, oh, but then actually the more times that it happens, you just learn, like exactly as it says in the online course material, you just learn to go with the car, and you learn when to like lift off, and you know when it's kind of safe to get back on the accelerator. And it really surprised me in a good way that it actually only took me a couple of laps to kind of get into that, and I was just kind of feeling it with the car, you know. And I think that the Formula 1 drivers talk about that all the time, the feel of the car and being essentially just part of it. But I'd never really experienced that, and obviously they experience it on a different level because they are so low to the ground and so completely strapped in. But even in the BMW in the rain, I definitely felt like I got some level of experience with that as well, which, as Paul said, is definitely going to be kind of reassurance more than anything, that going into Anglesey I don't have to worry if it is raining. So we hopped out of the BMW after doing a couple of laps and had a chat with Paul just in terms of, you know, what the steps are in Formula Woman and what was coming up next. And as I say, he was fantastically helpful, couldn't have asked for a better instructor. And I would highly encourage not even just Formula Woman applicants, to be honest, anyone that's interested in cars, even if you're just, you know, usually just watching races at the weekends, I would highly encourage you, if you can, to do this kind of experience. It's such a buzz, it's such an adrenaline rush, and you really do learn a lot, to be honest. Next thing coming up for me is to continue to look for sponsors. So I will be reaching out to more folks over the coming weeks, and also we are going to be organising hopefully a karting session for all of the Irish Formula Woman applicants. If you are an applicant from Ireland, please do reach out to me if you are not currently connected with anyone else. We have found people through like social media and stuff like that, but there are definitely other folks out there, so please do reach out to me on either my Instagram or by email. You can find that information in my channel info, because we would love to see you, and it's just going to be great to actually meet some of the other applicants before heading over to the UK for on-track assessments. So hopefully I'll be able to get some footage from that day as well. The date on that is TBD, but in the meantime I'll keep posting videos on my channel, so please do make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to continue to follow me on my journey. Chat to you soon.